Alright, hey, what's going on guys? Phil here, and today we're going to be diving into another mod video for Mechwarrior 5, of course, by Navid. Before we really get into details, I want to take you back memory lane style to 2016, where we got to see for the first time an introduction to Mechwarrior 5. And at the time in this video, we were introduced to a completely new redesigned HUD interface for mechs. Now, this is in direct comparison to what we'd seen for obviously a lot of years with MWO, and there was a lot of differences here. And we've got the video pulled up right here, so let's go ahead and take a look here. So some of the first things you're going to notice is the paper doll is actually a representation of what mech you're in, which is actually a small thing, but it's actually really cool. So kudos, we like that. Two, we've got this sort of new HUD. It's almost like three-dimensional, and this is actually a technology that can be utilized in Unreal, but as many of you guys know, this isn't what we saw when the game came out. More on that in just a second. But we've got some other attributes here. We've got a speed bar right here, we've got a heat bar right here, and then instead of your typical, I would say, weapon information where it's got the list stacked on top of each other, we actually have icons. And where are those icons? It's actually representative of where they are on the mech. So we've got these outside bars here that actually represent your arms. So as you can see here, medium laser, and it has two. Why? Because there's two medium lasers, and of course it's a laser. There's no ammunition, so it's got that little, unlimited. We've got an LRM, but it's empty because there's no ammunition in this demo. SRM2, 50 rounds. And of course, 3, indicating how many you have. And where its location is, by the way, up in the head and upper torso. And then we've got the AC5 in the top left torso. So the first thing you're going to notice is it's sort of like an intuitive HUD. The HUD tells you intrinsically where the weapons are mounted. Also, with this sort of style is you don't have to move your eyes drastically far in different locations to understand where your weapons are or what their status is. Now, skip forward to, let's see this mech walking in movement. And you can sort of see, it looks stylistically different. Here we've got an enemy mech that was just detected. And of course, down on the bottom left is we've got their paper doll information. Now, this isn't what we saw when the game launched, and a lot of people were, including myself, were a little bit set back because the stock Mechwarrior 5 HUD was sort of a step back from even MWO. If anything, it was, I felt like they could have just used MWO's HUD and it would have achieved a better transfer of knowledge from us players coming over from MWO to Mech 5. Now, we did get a reason for that. Internally, apparently, it was deemed that this was maybe too drastic of a change, and so they stuck to something a little bit similar to Mechwarrior Battletech fans. But again, my critique would be you had a perfectly working good HUD in Mechwarrior Online. Why didn't you just bring that over? Now, again, the argument was that there's a difference between first and third person, and it didn't necessarily fit. But again, the critique would be you could literally have two different HUDs and move some elements around for a third person if that was the case. So, what is this video about? Well, let's go ahead and dive in and show you what Navid has been working on. And I introduce Navid's latest HUD update, the 3D HUD. Now, there's a lot of information to go over, but just like we talked about with the previous 2016 trailer, that is basically what he's achieved here. Now, you may be wondering why or what or how did he achieve this? It was actually a lot of work, and it's pretty intuitive on how he did things. But needless to say, I just wanted to demonstrate, of course, here is the Atlas. We've got the K here. And let's go ahead and demonstrate and sort of show you one element at a time. Obviously, the first thing you're probably going to notice is the map. Also, if you press B, where it pops up, information again for you. Okay, so that's displayed in the bottom center of the screen. You also notice right above the mini map, we've got two medium lasers. Again, it gives you some basic information. And as you can see, there are the two mediums. Now, as I press this button and hold it down, the weapons are going to discharge with their normal duration, and you'll notice it changes color and then goes back and actually flashes just like that 2016 trailer. With that, you'll also notice the heat bar on the right side. Again, very ergonomic, flows with the HUD. But what we're going to do is now we're going to alpha the ER and the medium, and we're going to press up heat. You notice that the color of the heat bar is an indicator itself as it gets color change there from what we had into the red. And as you can see there, we had a warning sign. Let's go fire this just one more time here. And you can actually see in the cockpit that sort of flashing red light warning, of course. And if you hit O, you can override. Engage. And that's where that is as well. Okay, so you'll notice, again, the location of the weapons will display where the weapons are. On the arms, we have the ER larges, GOS in the right torso, and LRMs in the left torso. All this information is quickly discerned by the eye. Now, you may be asking yourself, what about the speed? Well, there you go. Indicator, you can sort of see what he has here is as your momentum here is that little red bar, and then as your speed catches up, there we go. We also have at the very top, we have the normal compass headings north with all the, again, default settings. He actually has like north at 0 and then east at 70, 85, so forth and so on. And we can go ahead and engage here. If you're wondering what this advanced zoom is, this actually comes default with the mod. You don't have to download anything different. And there's two ways to activate that, by the way. There's a default key that you can set, and mine is left alt, so I can just bring that instantly into bear. Or you can use the default scroll wheel, and at the top it'll just pop right in as long as you have that as well. So we're gonna go ahead and press up here and get some combat action. You may be wondering to yourself, well, what about weapon groups, Phil? How do we do that? Well, there's a solution for all of your questions, but before we get that, I want to destroy some tanks. I think that's appropriate. All right. Now, just like MWO, again, transfer of knowledge, and what we previously known in Mech 5, as soon as you press the up or down arrows, guess what pops up? And the cool thing is, when you mouse over, oh, I'm sorry, I've got to kill some tanks here. Vehicles rude. Trying to kill your teammates here. Would you give us some peace? Target destroyed. As soon as you mouse up and down and you select whatever weapon it is, it actually flashes, which is actually, again, a very nice touch. So you can change these weapon groups just like normal to anything you want with the the right control and the mouse buttons. And then guess what? As soon as you're done, you just let go, and it will naturally just disappear on its own. No needed inputs from you. I'm just gonna handle some business here. Nothing says hello like a Gauss rifle to the face. Now, the one thing that I like really about this HUD is that it's simplistic in nature, but it also takes the cockpit experience to the next level. And that's actually a critique I've had of Mechwarrior 5 in general, is the genre really wasn't taking a step forward. If anything, like I said, the HUD, in my opinion, was a step back. They should have kept the MWO HUD. I think the transfer of knowledge, and for all of us that have been playing for years, one, aesthetically it looked better. Two, it was more functional. And I get that when you're in third person, it may not look exactly one-to-one, but I'm okay with that as a fan. I get it. It's third person, but that shows you all the information you need to know. Another thing that I really like about this is because it's a step forward, you have all your information right there. I know exactly where my weapons are. And if you're coming in here as a new player, knowing that your ER larges are, I don't know, down below you, or that your medium lasers are in your CT because maybe you just forgot. And of course, for those that don't remember, it doesn't tell you here. Yes, it tells you that it's on your arms if you know that, if that's what the indicators are, but it doesn't say CT, left torso, right torso. So again, transfer of knowledge here. It's super nice to know where those are on your mech. Two, I think aesthetically, it looks cleaner, it looks crisper, it looks more modern. It takes this to the next level. I would even reference this to almost like an Elite Dangerous sort of thing. Now, obviously, Navid's been hard at work at this. We don't have any, of course, monitors in the cockpit that sort of interact with that. But I feel like, if anything, those monitors being removed was a good thing, comparatively to like MWO, where a lot of mechs have these monitors and they were completely pointless. But again, I feel like what it does is it takes the game, the IP forward, the experience forward. I actually feel like I'm in a more sophisticated war machine, which these mechs are in the lore. They're very, very highly technical, and as far as the processing power and the targeting computers and the information and all that, again, this experience. Now, of course, all of this is the same no matter the manufacturer, but one of the things I was always wondering is, could you then, if you could do a custom HUD like this, is there anything stopping maybe Navid or others from creating different versions of this based on what kind of manufacturer created the mech? So maybe, just maybe, you do have these slightly different, maybe even some of them are less ergonomic, if you will, but functional, that you'd have different manufacturers with different types of HUDs and stuff like that. But if anything, to me, this is a step in the right direction. And I think it, again, it advances the IP, it advances the experience that we have. And overall, I just want to say, fantastic job, Navid. Guys, if you want to check out this mod, I'm going to have a link down below. Make sure to download, endorse the mod once you try it. It's a simple install. Again, it's a drag and drop pack file. You can delete his old one if you don't want to use that as well. And I'm sure he's going to continue to improve this. But also another thing he's done with this is he set this up so that if we have any future, let's just say weapon upgrades, looking at you, DLC in April, sort of like Civil War tech or anything like that, the mod should automatically pick those up, and he's already generated icons for stuff like Heavy Gauss and you know, X-Pulse and racks and stuff like that. He's already got those you know, files in here as far as the images for the weapon. And that's another thing, images for the weapon, I like them. They're subtle, but they're unique and they're cool, and overall, I'm just really impressed by this mod. And if anything, it's what I'll be using when I play him Mech 5. And if anything, I think this is sort of what we all expected. And even though I get where maybe they were coming from, like, you know, they wanted the HUD to be, when you're in the cockpit and third person, to be the same or whatever, to me, again, I just feel like this is what sort of we were expecting in Mech 5, not what we got. And whoever designed that very first one, kudos to you. You know, it's good to see basically your idea come to fruition. And I've talked to Navid quite a bit about this, and I think this was the right call. And it's going to be interesting because even though this is fantastic, even though I'm going to be using this, and many of you guys are going to be using this, it's going to be interesting seeing what other people do, and even Navid himself, because this, by the way, is completely created by him. This isn't using the old system, and you may be wondering what I'm talking about, and that has to do with Unreal that uses the UI widget system. These are actually 3D elements that he created, so you can do post-processing effects, that glow and stuff like that that you see. That's all post-processing. You couldn't do that with the widget system. The 2D widget system couldn't utilize post-processing. And well, if anything, I say kudos, because that led Navid down the rabbit hole, if you will, and he's created this. So guys, make sure to check this out. Of course, if you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Are you going to use this? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you like indifferent about it? Let me know what you guys think. What other mods would you like to see come out of Mech 5? And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to catch us live when we stream every single day at twitch.tv/NGNGTV. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time. All right. Oh, glorious. Oh, hello, helicopter. You're having a bad day. Sorry, bro.
There it is. I'll leave the rest of the demolition job up to you, Commander.
Ghost Rider.
Critical.
Lap. Oh yeah, like that.
Heat critical.
Let's hit you. you in the head. Out of all the locations.
Heat critical.
Right in the cockpit. This was Battletech, you'd have died. Oh, totally just missed.
New target acquired. Heat critical.
Lerms.
Target destroyed. Incoming missile. New target acquired. Incoming
Right.
missile.
You guys could definitely see the difference too in paper doll information. Colors. What do you think about the colors? Colors of the rainbow.
Missile. Target destroyed.
Ooh, that was a headshot.
Target acquired.
He ain't walking away from that.
Target destroyed.
Rip.